So today I thought I'd show you a whole body workout, or at least most of my body anyway. There's a couple body parts that I missed in here that I decided that I'll do later. But most of my body parts I decided to get into this workout. And you know, I know I've talked about frequency of training in one of my other videos, how frequently should you train. But one thing that I found is really good, once you start to find that your motivation is waning a little bit, or you don't feel that motivated to get to the gym or to do the high volume workouts, sometimes it's nice to do an overall whole body workout. You know, you just do about 3 working sets of each body part, and then you leave. And it's funny thing is this is the second day in a row that I'm doing this workout, and I'm still sore from the day before. But it's amazing the type of pump you get. You know, you might not be using maximal poundages. You're using more the type of higher repetitions. You're using a weight that you can rep out with a little bit more, because you are, like I said, ultimately frequently training your body parts. You're not giving them 3 or 4 days rest or any of that kind of thing. But what I found is that, you know, when you remind a muscle that it needs to grow, you seem to get better results than letting it rest for too long, because at some point you start to get lazy, actually. That's at least what I found with myself. So anyway, these are some new shoes that I got, some Adidas shoes. They're like skate shoes, and they're great for squatting in. I was squatting in running shoes for a while there, and I knew that that wasn't really the best thing to do. But if you start squatting in some flat shoes, you'll start to notice that you'll have less knee pain, and your groove will be a little bit better when you squat or you lunge. So that's something to consider. If you find that you have knee pain or any of that kind of stuff, just consider what type of shoes you're wearing. And if you have a heel in them, or if they're, you know, have air pockets, it's easy for them to wear down on the inside or the outside. And it's also putting a little bit more stress on the knees, because the knees will start to travel over the toes. Not that that's bad for everybody, but for some people that actually starts to cause a little bit of bursitis or inflammation in the knee. So you have to, once again, you know, squat based on your groove. You know, some people can put the knees right through the wall like Tom Platz and there's no problem, right? But you know, for some of us, you know, that are hip squatters, you know, the flat bottom shoe is definitely the best way to go. So as you can see, I'm really warming up. I'm doing a few sets of 225 and one set of 135, just to make sure that everything's good, because I am sore from doing walking lunges the day before. And I'm not too sore though. I'm just a tiny bit tight. So I'm just making sure my lower back and my bum and everything knows what it's doing. So you know, I'm doing some pause reps there, and just you know, just really stretching it out and making sure that everything is in the proper groove, right? And I can't stress this enough. You know, with squats and deadlifts and things, you really got to make sure that you're warming up, because if you don't, it's, you know, everything feels fine, all of a sudden snap, you know, then you're on the floor and you wonder how you got there. So it's really important, right? So here I am going for my first set of 315, and like I said, I do about 3 working sets for each body part. And 3 working sets I find is more than enough, especially when you're training the body part 2 days in a row. And it's just enough to get the blood in there, get a burn, and you go, you know, as close to failure as you can, safely, of course. And I always talk about this with squats and things, you know, because some of your muscles are actually responsible for protecting the spine. I mean, you don't want to take them into utter failure, because then the risk of injury is there. So, you know, you want to go as close to failure as you can without going into unsafe parameters. So you want to make sure that you're still able to stabilize the spine and stabilize the movement, make sure everything is protected, right? So I'm enjoying this anyway. I mean, there's something really rewarding about walking in the gym and knowing that you only have 3 sets of squats to do. So, I mean, it sounds lazy, but you got to play these little tricks with yourself in order to make sure that you stay motivated and train. And it's, like I said, it's really, you know, you have to work with variation. It's like an artist. I mean, you don't always paint with one color, right? You know, once you start painting with different colors and things, and of course I just changed the shot here, just a different angle. So it looks like I have 2 videographers going on here, but really what I've done is just planted the camera and showed you a different set at the same time. So pretty good editing there. So the thumbs up for that, eh? So anyway, yeah, so here we go, constant tension. And, you know, I do have a video on why I squat the way I do, why I only do 90 degrees at the knee and all that. So if you want to look at that, just take a look at the 405-pound squats, or the other video that says why I squat the way I do. So anyway, I moved over the dumbbells, and I did bench presses the day before, barbell benches. So I wanted to actually do incline today, but because the incline was taken, I just decided to go with flat. So that wasn't really my first choice. I would have rather actually work a different part of my chest, or different movement, you know. But anyway, I just make sure I warm up for a couple sets here too. because once again, getting the blood from the legs into the upper body is tough sometimes, especially after training with squats. And so I make sure I take my time, make sure everything feels good, everything, you get the snaps and the cracks all in place. And once you've found your groove, then you can start moving up in weight, right? So today I wasn't planning on going extremely heavy. And I always go on how I feel. Some days it feels like you can just lift a mountain, and that's what you go with. But today I felt pretty good, but I didn't feel like, doing the 130s was the best thing for me. It wasn't the right thing. So I warmed up with 100s here, and then I move up to the 120s. And again, I'm keeping a constant tension on the chest there. I'm not working on the shoulders. I'm not working on hyperextending my elbows or extending it right up over the chest. I find that doesn't really get my chest anymore. If anything, it just fatigues my other parts and rotator cuffs and stuff, but doesn't necessarily hit my chest more for me. So here I am with a set of 120s, and thanks Sean for filming this for me, just getting a different angle there. And yeah, so I'm sticking around 15 to 20 reps. That's really the type of set that I do when I'm doing super frequent. And then I decided after doing about 3 sets of 120s to rep out with 70s here, or 75s. And I just decided to do a pump set, right? Because my chest was already sore from the day before, I didn't need to pound it to death with heavy weight. Now it's I can afford to rep out and get a good pump. And that's kind of the nice part about frequent training. You're not obligated to train super heavy. You can afford to train a little bit lighter because you're hitting the muscles more often. And so yeah, a nice combination of everything. You get the low rep ranges and the high rep ranges. So I decided to go with some lat pull downs here. Now I'm showing you how far my range of motion is with lat pull downs. A lot of people think they have to touch their chest, or even when they're doing chin ups, they think they have to pull up all the way. They have to actually do a chin up, in order to hit the back. And the truth is, this depends on how you are built, and I'm pulling so as far down as I can, but without rotating the shoulders. Once you start rotating the shoulders, that means that you're using the rotator cuff and you're not actually using the lat. You're bringing in the internal rotation component of the lat, but you're also using a lot of your rotator cuff. See, I'm showing you right here the improper way to do lat pull down, and that's what a lot of people do. They say, okay, if you don't pull all the way down to the chest, you're doing it wrong, but that's actually not true. You're actually putting undue stress on the shoulders when you're pulling all the way down to the chest in some cases, depending on how you're built, once again, right? So as you can see, my elbows, I'm bringing them down as far as I can, and that's as far as my body goes. So dysfunctional or not, that's just the way my body moves. And when I lean forward, I'm getting an extra stretch in the lats. I'm not doing it to actually swing the weight. I'm doing it just to get a little bit of an extra stretch, and when I'm getting a little bit of extra stretch in there, then it just helps me really isolate those lats and get a good squeeze. So just like the other exercises, I've done 3 sets here, and 3 sets of about 15 to 20 reps is usually the area that I'm going in, right? So I really want to get the feel, especially with lat pull down. I try not to go into super heavy weight. The reason for this is that I'm trying to really isolate the lats in the back. I don't want to start swinging too much or rotating or doing all this stuff that you see a lot of people doing. So then I went right to shoulders, which is a lot of raises, and I have my arms are bent in these raises or whatever. The reason why my right arm doesn't go up quite as much as my left arm is just because of the dislocating shoulder injury there. So this is about as high as I can bring the arm and hit the delt. But ideally you want to bring it up as far as it feels comfortable. You're actually hitting the actual deltoid itself and getting a burn in there, right? So once again, you have to go on your history of injuries from sports and whatever. Sometimes your body will move a little different depending on what you've done to yourself. So. But yeah, 3 sets here just to get a good burn, a good pump. Right now I'm feeling pretty good. I mean, my legs are pumped, my chest is pumped, my back's pumped. And yeah, I'm just enjoying the blood flow, just getting the blood flowing through the whole body. When you do this, you really notice that your motivation for training goes up. So it's almost like priming your pump. You're priming the pump. You're getting your motivation up by just getting the muscles and everything moving and stretching, and it's kind of like a yoga in a way, I mean, it's not like a yoga as far as the real spiritual component or anything like that, but you're really getting the blood flowing everywhere. So I just showed you 1 or 2 sets there, and then I finished it off with some skull crushers on an incline. Now I did some bicep curls later on when I went home, but for purposes of how long this video is and how much time I wanted to spend in the gym, I just figured I'd end it off with some skull crushers here. And I warm up once again with one set of 20 pounders, and then I'm moving up to a heavier weight, which is 30s, which isn't too heavy for me, but again, I'm going for the pump, I'm going for the burn, and because I have done some chest, there's a little bit of tricep activity with the dumbbell presses. And yeah, so here we go. So this is my third and final set. And yeah, as you notice, I just squeeze the triceps to where I feel it in this area, right? If I come too far up, then I'm not really squeezing the triceps. I find I feel my rotator cuff muscles and the internal rotators. So that's why I stop the dumbbells where I do and just get that constant burn. But this may be different for you, so you'll have to find what is your right groove for that exercise for yourself. So anyway, I thought I'd show you what I look like anyway. I've been eating some pancakes and stuff. I'm not really worried about my diet too much. But anyway, once again, this keeps me honest, you know, so I wanted to show you what I'm looking like right now. And thanks a lot for watching, and I'll talk to you soon.